who made it here through the snow. In our Talmudic tradition, there is an old adage that says, if you save a life, you save the world. Joel has a galaxy here tonight. The best way to tell you what Joel does for a living is to introduce you to four very special people who kept the faith, who have the highest affection for this wonderful lawyer. Reverend Grady, would you stand up, please? The Reverend is a man of God who wouldn't be here tonight if Joel hadn't found a way to undo a horrible conviction in 1996. Thank you, Reverend, for being with us tonight. There are three gentlemen at the table that I'm sitting at with my family that I'm delighted to meet and spend time with. Danny Cologne, would you stand up? Laura Collins. And Johnny Sue. Danny Cologne has been free for 10 months after spending 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Jabbar Collins spent 16 years and, as he reminded me, 3 months in prison for a murder he didn't commit. And Johnny Sue spent 12 and a half years in prison for an attempted murder that he didn't commit. They are all here this evening because of the extraordinary efforts of our Thurgood Marshall Award winner. The Thurgood Marshall Award is given once a year to a very special practitioner who stands for the best of American society. We think the best of American society is the right to a lawyer who fights for the unpopular and downtrodden. It even gets better than that when you can correct an injustice. Those of you in this room know how difficult it is to defend an innocent man. You know the sleep that you lose. You know the terrible pressure that you're under. You can only imagine what it takes after decades of witnesses dying and forgetting, and prosecutors covering up and hardening their positions, and cynical judges, forgive me the folks from Rockland, cynical judges not willing to listen to what happened when they coerced the confession or when the prosecutor hit Brady. Joel Rudin spent thousands of uncompensated hours to bring these men home. And the least we can do is to honor him tonight with the Thurgood Marshall Award, and it's my pleasure to do so. I have watched Joel practice for many, many years. I've never seen anybody as dedicated, as dogged, and as committed to what he does. As always, there are women behind the man. I'd like to welcome Joel's mom, Mrs. Rudin. Welcome. You must be proud of your son. Joel's wife, Naomi, is here. And ladies, you will forgive me, but my favorite of all is Teresa Peters. Teresa Peters is the only woman, she's the office manager, by the way, and we share offices, and Teresa is the only woman that I let yell at me because she's always right. So it is my great pleasure to present to Joel Rudin, on behalf of the New York State Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, the Thurgood Marshall Award as an outstanding...
Thank you, George, for that wonderful introduction. It has been a great experience to get to know you and to learn from you for so many years. You're a truly gifted trial lawyer, and I know you're going to give the government hell in the Bassiano trial. This is a thrill for me on so many different levels. To receive an award named for one of the most heroic lawyers and judges in American history, Thurgood Marshall, on the same program as the daughters of William Consular, who was one of my personal heroes growing up in the 1960s and 1970s. To be recognized by my professional peers, and to have all this happen in front of my wife, Naomi, my mother, Claire, my sister, Laura, and brother-in-law, Phil, my parents-in-law, Judith and Irving Haber, and so many esteemed friends and colleagues. Like many of you, and this organization is becoming entirely too old, I am a child of the 60s. In my formative years, I was inspired by political activists, lawyers, and journalists who wanted to expose and even resist a government that gave us the Vietnam War, J. Edgar Hoover, and Watergate. After a brief career as a journalist, I became a criminal defense lawyer because it seemed a perfect fit, fighting to save individuals from the power of the state, trying to create precedents that would change our society for the better, using language to try to persuade people's minds and to touch their hearts. In sum, a perfect outlet for an obsessive-compulsive idealist. In 1989, I had the amazing opportunity to argue before Justice Marshall in the Supreme Court. My argument potentially sought to invalidate a section of the Federal Magistrates Act on behalf of a criminal defendant. Several weeks before my big day, I went to the court to watch other arguments, and there was Bill Kunstler arguing the first flag-burning case. Reading from a loose-leaf binder, flipping the pages, he quoted the powerful language contained in the court's broad First Amendment case law and dared the justices to overturn their own precedent. He irreverently addressed a red-faced Chief Justice Rehnquist as chief with the chief, as the other justices, including Marshall and Brennan, tried to suppress their laughter. It worked. He won 5-4. Justice Rehnquist dissented. The night before my own argument, I walked along the reflecting pool between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, practicing to Naomi, thinking that one lawyer with the right arguments can invalidate a statute and prove more powerful than the entire United States Congress. What wonderful opportunities our legal system gives us as lawyers, if only we'd seize them. During the argument, by the way, it was Justice Marshall, who is not known for participating very frequently in oral argument, who shredded the Solicitor General's position and paved the way for us to win. But then came the heyday of the war on drugs, the federal sentencing guidelines, mandatory minimum sentences, and cooperation with the government as defense attorneys' principal tool to save their clients. How can you feel good about what you do when you're racing your colleagues to the prosecutor's door so that your client can be the first one to snitch on his friends and his family? Nothing in law school or in life had prepared me to tell a macho client to become a queen for the day. What helped restore my pride in being a criminal defense lawyer was meeting and being privileged to represent clients like Alberto Ramos, the Reverend Nathaniel Grady, Jabbar Collins, Danny Colon, Shiwei Su. Each of them fought for years with tremendous dignity and determination through their despair until some court saw the injustice in their conviction and was willing to do something about it. It has been immensely satisfying to help them win their freedom or recover monetary damages while hopefully playing some role in exposing flaws in our criminal justice system. But each of the cases was a team effort. Our private investigator, Larry Frost, found and gained the cooperation of most of the crucial witnesses, just like he has done for many of the lawyers in this room. And my associates, Terry Rosenblatt, Ben Fishman, and Sasha Poretz, all terrific young lawyers, also provided invaluable assistance. The media seems to have fallen in love with the concept of exoneration, and certainly demonstrating a likelihood of innocence, as we did in our cases, is a powerful tool in opening the mind of an otherwise skeptical court. But in a civilized society, it is the unfairness of the process that should be the principal focus when a conviction is challenged. If the government can get away with coercing witnesses, using suggestive identifications, knowingly relying on perjury, and hiding exculpatory evidence or Brady material, then the risk of convicting the innocent increases exponentially. No one is safe. That is why we as defense lawyers must always be fighting for the integrity of the process. There is no one else, no one fighting that battle but us. And we should be proud of our role. In this profession, one man or woman, one person with an inspiration, one person with the willingness to fight hard for what he or she believes in can make all the difference. When the time is right, when the pieces all fall into place, each of us has the capability, for some client, for some cause, to be a Thurgood Marshall or a William Kunstler. Thank you again for this wonderful award.